was given to us just when the Lord left the planet at the end of Dwapara Yoga, beginning of Kali Yoga. And it says that the Srimad Bhagavatam is like the light that come here to as an incarnation of Krishna to save us. So it's really attending the Bhagavatam every day is and hearing Bhagavatam every day is the means to conquer material energy and to connect with Krishna. So we are reading from the second canto, the cosmic manifestation. And we are on chapter 7, scheduled incarnation. And from my understanding is we are on text 13. And we can repeat after me one Sanskrit word at a time. Kshira.
Kshira.
Adado.
Adado.
Amara.
Amara.
Tanava.
Tanava.
Utapanam.
Utapanam.
Unmatnatam.
Unmatnatam.
Amrita.
Amrita.
Labdaya.
Labdhaya.
Adideva.
Adideva.
Vishtena.
Vishtena.
Kachapa.
Kachapa.
Vapu.
Vapu.
Vidadara.
Vidadara.
Gotram.
Gotram.
Nidrakshana.
Nidrakshana.
Adriparivarta.
Adriparivarta.
Kashana.
Kashana.
Kandu.
Kandu.
Shiro dadava maradana vayuktapanam.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Unmatnatam amritalabdaya aditeva.
Unmatnatam amritalabdhaya adideva.
Vishtena kachapavapu vidadara gotram.
Vishtena kachapavapurvidadhara gotram.
Nidrakshano diparivarta kashana kandu.
Nidrakshano driparivarta kashana kandu.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Utmatnatam amritalabdaya atidevam.
Unmatnatam amritalabdhaya adideva.
Visena kachapavapu vidadara gotram.
Prishtena kachapavapurvidadhara gotram.
Nidrakshano dviparivarta kashana kandu.
Nidrakshano driparivarta kashana kandu.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Shiro sadava maradana vayutapanam.
Utmatnatam amritalabdaya adideva.
Unmatnatam amritalabdhaya adideva.
Vishtena kachapavapu vidadara gotram.
Vishtena kachapavapurvidadhara gotram.
Nidrakshano diparivarta kashana kandu.
Nidrakshana driparivarta kashana kandu. Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Unmatnatam amritalabdhaya adideva.
Utmatnatam amritalabdaya adideva.
Prishtena kachapavapurvidadhara gotram.
Prishtena kachapavapu vidara gotram.
Nidrakshana driparivarta kashana kandu.
Nidrakshano dviparivarta kashana kandu.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Shiro dadava maradana vayutapanam.
Unmatnatam Vitalabdaya Adideva
Unmatnatam Amitalabdaya Adideva
Kristena Kacha Pavapurvidadara Gotram
Kristena Kacha Pavapurvidadara Gotram
Nidrakshanodri Parivartakashana Kandu
Nidrakshanodri Parivartakashana Kandu.
Anyone else would like to chant online?
Shiro Dadava Maradana Vayutapanam
Shiro Dadava Maradana Vayutapanam
Unmatnatama Mitalaptaya Adideva
Marnatama Mitalagaya Adideva
Krishtena Kachapava Purvidadara Gotram
Kristena Kachapava Purvidadara Gostam
Nidrakshanoji Parivartakashana Kandu
Nidrakshanoji Parivartakashana Kandu.
Someone else? Here we can read word for word with translation. Shira,
Shira,
milk,
milk,
Adadao,
Udadao,
in the ocean of,
in the ocean of
Amara,
Amara,
the demigods,
the demigod,
Danava,
Danava,
the demons,
the demons,
Utapanam,
Utapanam,
of the leaders of both hosts,
are the leaders of both hosts,
Unmatnatam,
Unmatnatam,
while churning,
while churning,
Amrita,
Amrita,
nectar,
nectar,
Labdaya,
Labdhaya,
for gaining,
for gaining,
Adideva, the
Adideva,
primeval Lord,
the primeval Lord,
Kristena,
Kristena,
by the backbone,
by the backbone,
Kachapa,
Kachapa,
tortoise,
tortoise,
Vapu,
Vapu,
body,
body,
Vidadara,
Vidadhara,
assumed,
assumed,
Gotram,
Gotram,
the Mandara
the
hill,
Mandara hill,
Nidrakshana,
Nidrashana,
while partly sleeping,
while partly sleeping,
Adviparivarta,
Adviparivarta,
rolling the hill,
rolling the hill,
Kashana,
Kashana,
scratching,
scratching,
Kandu,
Kandu,
itching.
itching.
Changing my glasses. Translation. The primeval Lord then assumes the tortoise incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning road. The demigods and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Tortoise, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Also, it is not in our experience. There is a milk ocean within this universe. Even the modern scientists accept that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of planets hovering over our heads, and each of them has different kind of climatic conditions. Srimad Bhagavatam gives much information which may not tally with our present experience, but as far as Indian sages are concerned, knowledge is received from the Vedic literatures, and the authority accepts without any hesitation that we should look through the pages of authentic books of knowledge, Shastra, Shakshu, Vart. So we cannot deny the existence of the ocean of milk as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam unless and until we have experimentally seen all the planets hovering in space. Since such an experiment is not possible naturally, we have to accept the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam as it is because it is so accepted by spiritual leaders like Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, and others. The Vedic process is to follow in the footsteps of great authorities And that is the only process of knowing that which is beyond our imagination. The primeval Lord, being all-powerful, can do whatever he likes, and therefore he is assuming the incarnation of a tortoise or a fish for serving a particular purpose is not at all astonishing. Therefore, we should not have any hesitation whatsoever in accepting the statements of the authentic scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam. The gigantic work of churning the milk ocean by the combined effort of the demigods and the demons required a gigantic resting ground or a pivot for the gigantic Mandara hill. Thus, to help the attempt of the demigods, the primary Lord assumes the incarnation of a gigantic tortoise swimming in an ocean of milk. At the same time, the mountain scratched his backbone as he was partially sleeping and thus relieved his itching sensation. Om Agyanati Merandasya Gyanajaya Shakshu Militant Janatas my Shri Guavi Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvesesha Shunyavadi Paskachajilatani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. I'm going to read the translation again. The primary Lord then assumes the turtle's incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning road. The demigod and demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of Lord Turtles, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation. So that's it. What's an ocean of milk, a tortoise with a mountain on its back, and demons and demigods churning an ocean of milk to extract the nectar. That's just like common sense, isn't it? So yeah, because we have a tendency to think in terms of like what I experience. So here there is we only experience ocean of salt. So we think like ocean means ocean of salt. So we don't have an experience of an ocean of milk. We don't have an experience of churning with the mountains, or a snake being the ropes to churn the milk ocean. So we don't have an experience of that. So our tendency is to think like, if I don't have an experience of something, then I don't believe in it. And then Srila Prabhupada makes a very interesting point here. He makes the point that even the modern scientists, and they are really the one who thinks they know so much. They say there is thousands, hundreds and thousands of planets in the sky. You know, they can see it. Everybody can see it. We can see that with our eyes. There is something in the sky. You know, if it's not little dot that shines, then maybe it's planets. And then the scientists they accept that there is hundreds of thousands of planets in the sky, and thus Srila Prabhupada make a point, unless we have visited each and every one of those planets, unless we have then we cannot say that we have knowledge of what's in a universe. And if we pretend that we know, then it's not possible. It's not, unless we have visited every one of the planets in the universe, how can we say that there is no ocean of milk? So that's a very interesting part. Prabhupada makes that point. And he continued to say, and the sages, the people who have knowledge, the people who are enlightened, they accept the authority of the Veda and the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Veda, they give us real knowledge of our position, knowledge about if we want to know, okay, what's our position, what's the goal, the purpose of human life, if we want to know, if we want to be guided in any way throughout our lives, then that knowledge is found in the Veda, Srimad Bhagavatam, descending through the chain of disciplic succession and given to us specifically by Srila Prabhupada, who came here to the West to make it accessible to us, to make this accessible to the Western people with Western mind that are, so much puffed up with very limited knowledge in reality. So Srila Prabhupada makes that point that sages and authority, they accept the Veda, and then based on the Veda, then they give knowledge. They don't manufacture their own knowledge based on their experience. They don't have that sense of sensing that I know the truth because my mind is telling me what the truth is. No, they take shelter of the Veda and then they become real authority because they are capable of giving that knowledge. Well, Srila Prabhupada made that point that all the great sages, and he gave example, Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, so many, they follow the Veda, and then each of them also follow in a previous authority that gives knowledge. So for us, it's the same thing. We follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, who give us knowledge of the Veda, give us Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a really amazing, far out. There is nothing more far out than Srimad Bhagavatam. Like this story, I really love the story of the Milk Ocean. So I was really happy when Dear Govinda asked me to give class because this is, if some people have come to my house, in my kitchen, there is a picture of part of the pastime. That's a picture in my dining room. So this picture is from this pastime, and I have it there because this pastime is meaningful for me. So I'm glad to speak about it. And then Srila Prabhupada make another point. He said, if the Lord is, like the prime of our Lord is omnipotent and he can do as he wishes, he can do whatever he wants. So why not taking the form of a tortoise or a fish if that's what pleases him? And I remember Navin Krishna Prabhu, once he was speaking about some group, he's taking a group of his friend from college time, I think. He's taking him and he's giving them the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and he was saying, okay, so make a list of things that God cannot do. Like make a list of things like what cannot do. Because this is so presumptuous to things that we know, oh, God cannot come as a tortoise. No. God cannot come as a fish or a burning bush. There is no doubt that God cannot. Well, where did you get that knowledge? How do you know? How do you know that God cannot come as a tortoise? And then the rest of the purport, Srila Prabhupada kind of go into that pastime. So I like to expand on the pastime because there is so much in this pastime. So the pastime started with, well, first we see that in the Bhagavatam, many places in the Bhagavatam, we have fight between demons and demigods. And most of the time, the demigods are victorious, most of the time. But once in a while, the demons are victorious. And when that happens, we can retrace it to the demigod offenses, to their guru or to sages, the demigod making offenses. So that's the first teaching here. So once there was Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni is a sage, a great sage, and he saw Lord Indra on his elephant, and he felt very joyful because a devotee is always joyful to see another devotee. And so he came with a garland, the beautiful garland, to offer the garland to Lord Indra. And Lord Indra, he took the garland with a stick and he put it on the trunk of his elephant. And then the elephant, he played with the garland and put it on the floor and stomp on it. And from that, Durvasa Muni felt very offended. And he cursed Indra and all the demigods to lose all their power. So because they lost their power, then when the continual fight was going on between the demigods and the demons, then the demons became victorious. The demons become victorious. And when the demons get victorious, then what's happened is that the human society is very affected by that, because the demigods are not in their power anymore to provide for human society, to provide food, to provide water, to provide shelter. So it was creating a lot of problem in the universe. And so the demigods, they were lamenting, and they went to see Lord Brahma. That's how it's happened, like in Krishna book. Mother Earth, she's burdened by the military strength of the earth, and she takes the form of a cow and she goes to see Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma is in charge of this universe. He's the creator of this universe. So the demigods, they went to see Lord Brahma, and they complained. They say, wow, we have no power anymore. The demons are in charge, and because they are in charge, there's so much problem everywhere, and sacrifices are not performed anymore. And Lord Brahma said, well, it's not much I can do. You guys, you messed up in a sense, because you didn't treat the sages properly, so you lost your power. So I have no power to do anything, but let's go and see Lord Vishnu. So same thing, there is a parallel with Krishna book where Mother Earth went to see Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma and all the demigods, they went to see Lord Vishnu. And they go to see Lord Vishnu on the shore of the Kshiro ocean, the ocean of milk. That ocean of milk is in the universe, and in fact, it's like an embassy. An embassy. It's like an embassy, because that ocean of milk, in the middle of the milk, that ocean of milk, there is an island called Svetwadvip. And that island of Svetwadvip is spiritual. It's a spiritual island within this universe. So we can see, like, sometime, like we can go to Germany, and it's Germany, everything is Germany, but there is an embassy there, and the embassy of the United States. And within that embassy, people are American. It's an American soil. So similarly in Svetwadvip, it's a spiritual soul within the material world. So the demigods, they went there to see Lord Vishnu. And then they began, of course, they began to praise Lord Vishnu, his power, his beauty, and they had a glimpse of him, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. They had a glimpse of him, and then, of course, they put in front of Lord Vishnu their complaints about the demons. I like so they put a complaint about the demons, and so Lord Vishnu, he agreed to help them. He agreed to help them, but like he said, okay, so here is what I want you to do. Here is what I want you to do. I want you to create a truce with the demons. And I want you, after you create peace with them, like temporary peace, you offer them to work together to churn the nectar of immortality together. And then Lord Vishnu said, and as you churn the nectar of immortality, a lot of things are going to come. And he told them, don't pay attention to those things. Don't pay attention, just go for the nectar of immortality. And he said, bring all the vegetables, bring everything you have, put it in the ocean and churn that. And so the demons, they went to see, aided by Lord Indra, they went to see the demons that at the time were aided by Bali Maharaj. And so they went to see the demons and said, okay, we want to make peace. And Lord Vishnu offers us that we can churn the ocean of milk. And by doing so, get the nectar of immortality. So let's do that together. They are brothers. Demons and demons and the demigods, they are brothers. They are all sons of Kashyapa Muni. They are all sons of Kashyapa Muni, so they are brothers, but they are eternally fighting with each other. So they are brothers, yeah, they are all sons of Kashyapa Muni. They are brothers from the same father and two different mothers. Diti and Aditi. Diti, because Diti wanted to have sex with her husband at the wrong time, in the wrong time like that. Then she gave birth to demons. She's also the mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. She's the mother of all the demons. So they are brothers or half brothers, but in India they don't make those they don't consider half brothers. They just consider brothers. So they are brothers. So they made peace together, the brothers, and said we are going to work together. And their first task was to, because the Lord said, okay, you're going to use the Mandara mountain as a churning road. So they went to pick up the Mandara mountain, and all the demons and all the demigods, they picked up the Mandara mountain. That was so heavy. It's a mountain of gold. It's so heavy. And they were putting their strength, and they were all very, very strong men. And they were carrying the Mandara mountain. But as they arrived next to the ocean, the shore of the ocean of milk, like their muscle couldn't take it anymore, and they were trembling. And then the Mandara mountains fell, and many of them got killed. And so, the demons, they were just disappointed and saw it as an accident. But the demigods, they started to pray and take shelter of Vishnu, because it's natural. The demigods, they are all devotees. When something happens in a life of a devotee, naturally the devotee turned to Lord Krishna, to Lord Vishnu, and take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So they took shelter of Lord Vishnu, while the demons, they were just angry, lamenting, disappointed, and just like looking at things as an accident. It's just an accident. And then Lord Vishnu came. He lifted the Mandara mountain just with one hand. And it's not very surprising, like in Krishna's pastime, he was 7-year-old, and with the pinky of his left hand, he lifted Govardhan Hill. So Lord Vishnu come on the back of Gauda, and he lifted the Mandara mountain. And also what he did, he cast his glance on the demons and the demigods, and they all came back to life. And not only they came back to life, but they didn't feel any pain in their muscle anymore. They didn't have any bruise. They were all back to their strengths. And then Garuda took them, took the demigods further to the ocean, and then put the Mandara mountain in the middle of the ocean. And then Lord Vishnu was still there, and he stood on the top of the mountain with, it's a form with, I think, 6 or 8 arms. And then he called upon Vasuki, a snake Vasuki. So when he called upon Vasuki, before he called on Vasuki, he asked Garuda to leave, because Garuda is a devotee of the Lord, is a carrier of Lord Vishnu, and he's a meat eater. He's a meat eater. So, and he loves snakes. So he said, Garuda, now you leave, and then Vasuki will be able to come. And then there is a funny pastime about the Lord. How the Lord always knows how to trick the demons. He just tricks them in their false ego. They have so much ego. They think they are controlling. Because even when they saw Lord Vishnu carrying the Mandara mountain, when they saw Lord Vishnu healing them, they still didn't surrender. It wasn't enough. Sometimes we say, oh, show me God and I will surrender to him. But even the demons, when they saw Lord Vishnu carrying the Mandara mountain, healing them, they still didn't surrender. So, show me God, I will surrender. Well, is that true? Is that true? Can we look at it? Is that true? Because really, all of us, we can see like the two brothers within ourselves, that we all have a divine part of us, like devoted part of us, and we all have also a demoniac part of us. who just want to think that everything is my result, my control, and when things don't go the way I want, it is accident. We don't see the plan of the Lord, and that's how the demons were looking at things. So when Lord Vishnu called upon Vasuki, Vasuki came, and Lord Vishnu took the head of Vasuki because it's the most dangerous place. So he said, oh, I'm going to take the head and give it to the demigod. But the demons, by nature, they are obvious, and they thought, oh, it must be auspicious since Lord Vishnu took that and gave it to the demigods. And they became jealous, and they said, no, we want the head. And at the end, like Lord Vishnu tricks the demons to take the head, using their false ego for them to get the head. And of course, Vasuki is a snake. He's venomous. He's spitting fire. So when they were churning, all that fire was coming in their face, and it was hellish. It was a hellish condition for them. But they created that by their envy. So then okay. So on one side, on the tails, there was the demigods, and on the head of the snake, there was the demons, and Vasuki the snake, he was, they was going around the Mandara mountain, and then they began to share much, working together, the demons parts and the divine part together. Sometimes we can make them work together. And that's the way to churn the nectar of immortality. When they stop fighting, when we stop fighting inside, that's why this pastime is very relevant for me, because I look at it as reality. This is a real pastime, but also as an allegory, in a sense, for what's happening within myself. And so the demons and demigods, they work together. And they saw that as they were churning with the Mandara mountain, the mountain was sinking. It wasn't staying on the top of the ocean, and then it was sinking, and then it wasn't working too well. And so they were lamenting, the demons were lamenting, disappointed, it's not going to happen, fate is against me, it's not going to happen. While the demigods, they were in a place like, okay, well, it's not working, let's just pray and take shelter of Vishnu. And then a big tortoise came, Kurma avatar. He came, and it's described that it's like a huge island. I don't remember how, but like huge, like a continent almost. And the huge turtle came, and then it went under the Mandara mountain to bring it up and become like the place where the Mandara mountain could pivot. There's a picture somewhere. No. Anyway, we can look at this picture. So we can see the Mandara mountain here, and then underneath that there is Kurma, and then Vasuki is a snake. So then the demigods, they were like so grateful, really feeling blessed by the Lord. And then the demons were just like, yes, we got that. And then both brothers, they started, yeah, that's a great picture. Izzy giving me a great picture of that. So both of them on both sides, they began to churn the milk ocean enthusiastically. And then it was a lot of work. And then we had Vasuki who was spitting fire. So all the demons, they were becoming so hot and burn. And then as they were churning, all the aquatics like crocodiles and all the aquatic, the whales and there's big whales who can eat whales. So all the aquatics, they became very agitated in the water. They came to the surface and became agitated. So that's the first thing that happened, is that what was very deep within the ocean became agitated and began to come to the surface. And then the first thing that was churned out of the milk ocean is poison. poison began to pour everywhere. We can see that poison is like the black part. And that poison began to pour everywhere. And then the demigods and the demons became fearful because he was pouring all over the universe and ready to kill everything in the universe. And so they saw that this is really bad. This is really bad what's happening right now. And again, the demons were just like, oh, okay. And then the demigods, they prayed to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu tells them, Lord Vishnu could have saved the day, of course, he can always save the day, but he decided he wanted to glorify his devotee. So he said, go and see Lord Shiva. Go and ask Lord Shiva to do something for you. And so they approached Lord Shiva and they gave so beautiful prayer to Lord Shiva, like really glorifying his position, his ability, and his art. And Lord Shiva is very, very compassionate by nature. He doesn't want the suffering of any living entities. So Lord Shiva came and he drank all the poison. That's again this picture. So Lord Shiva, he drank the poison and wanted to leave a mark on Lord Shiva. And so it says that Lord Shiva got a blue mark on his neck from that, and he's glorified for that blue mark. And we see that there is snakes, and it's said in Srimad Bhagavatam that there was insect and snake and vegetable around Lord Shiva. And as he was drinking the ocean of milk, some drop of that poison was falling. And that's when scorpions, venomous snakes, poisonous herbs came to creation. Before that, they were not such a poisonous. So what came first is the poison. So we can also look in our process of self-realization that sometime we start chanting Hare Krishna, and it seems that everything is beautiful like the ocean of milk. And then as we start chanting, things get churned, and we see crocodile, and we see things coming up to the surface. And then all of a sudden, it's poison, envy, anger, difficulties, having tolerance for others, criticism, and then the tendency when we see that is to want to start the fight against between the two parts inside of us. So in this pastime, we can call on the devotee and get help from the devotee. Lord Shiva is said to be Ashutosh, that he very easily fulfills the desire of the devotees. So we can approach the Prabhupada with that poison that comes up, to not pretend it's not there, to not try to push it away, and at the same time to acknowledge that poison. Yes, Prabhupada, I see so much envy in my heart. Yes, Prabhupada, so much anger in my heart. I see so much greed in my heart. I see so much greed in my heart. And to really see that poison and to be aware of the poison that comes as a result of churning our own, ocean of milk inside. And then, so Lord Shiva drank all the poison, he took it, so in a sense, that poison will come when we do approach to, a lot of the Christian theology is about grace, about that we cannot do our work ourselves, that we need grace. So we can, we have the power to churn, we have the power to be sincere, and the rest is up to the Lord, up to the devotees, up to the pure devotee who give us mercy, and little by little are willing to drink the poison for us and help us on our way to the nectar of immortality. Then, so after Lord Shiva took the poison, then again the demons and the demigods, they found their vitality and they started churning again. And as they churn, then this so like attractive being coming. First, there was a Surabi cow. The Surabi cow, she gave ghee, she gave butter, she gave everything necessary for sacrifice. And it's so auspicious. So that Surabi cow came. And then the sages took her. And then after the Surabi cow came, then there was a beautiful white horse that came. Beautiful white horse. And then Bali Maharaj said, I want him. And then Indra was jealous. He said, I want the horse. But he remembered very clearly that Lord Vishnu said, don't pay attention. Don't pay attention to what's coming up. So similarly, as we chant Hare Krishna and that the poison gets taken away, we may experience a sense of well-being. We may experience a sense of well-being. And then the material world all of a sudden become more attractive. More attractive. I feel happier, I feel more equipped, more understanding. And Lord Vishnu says, don't pay attention to that. Close your eyes. Even so things do become better, even so become attractive, even so there is many opportunity that come your way after you chant Hare Krishna. Just let it go. If this is not important, disregard what, to refocus on Ekehaku Nandana, to have a one focused mind on getting that nectar of immortality, which is the nectar of immortality is to go back to our eternal constitutional position as servant of Krishna. And so there was the Surabi cow, and the sage took that, and the beautiful white horse, and Maharaj took it, and Lord Indra was able to let go. And then some elephant, the king of the elephant came, and the she elephants, and then Lakshmi came. They were also wanted her. They wanted Lakshmi so much because Lakshmi, when there is a churning, Lakshmi does come, and they all wanted her. But Lakshmi is clear. She's completely faithful. Her husband is Narayan, and she's not going to give herself to anyone else, even so they wanted to enjoy her. They wanted to enjoy her so much. And then it's described that Varuna came, which is the demigoddess of the drunkard. So naturally that he went to the demons, the demigoddess of the drunkard, went to the demons. And then all of a sudden, oh, there's a beautiful picture of that. All of a sudden, there's so beautiful being coming out of the water. A beautiful being coming out of the water. I'm going to show you that beautiful man. A beautiful being coming out of the water with a jar, and in that jar there was the nectar of immortality. This is Lord Dhanvantari. Lord Dhanvantari is the Lord of the doctors, is a plenary portion of Lord Vishnu, and is the head of Ayurveda, is a healer. And so Lord Dhanvantari, he came out with finally the nectar of immortality churned by the demons and the demigods. And as soon as the demons and the demigods saw the beautiful being, the demons, because they are greedy, they snatched it from Lord Dhanvantari. And they snatched it. And then at that time again, the demigods, they didn't fight, they just went morose. Oh no. And then they turned to Lord Vishnu, because that's what devotees do. They turn to Lord Vishnu, oh Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Vishnu said, don't worry, I'm going to take care of that. And the first way he did take care of that, he created enmity amongst the demons. So the demons, they create, like, sometimes I see people who do some things that's out of their integrity. Then again, they have layers and layers of judgment over the judgment over the judgment. And there is so much fight within themselves that they cannot really look in what's really happening. So that's what was happening with the demons. They were fighting among each other. There was so much enmity between them that they couldn't get the nectar of immortality. They couldn't get because the strong ones said, we should drink it first. And then the weaker one, they were aware like, wow, our brothers are there, the demigod, we should share with them. And the other one said, no, we will not share, it's ours. So while they were fighting like that, nobody was getting any of the nectar. And then all of a sudden the Lord appeared in his most beautiful form as a woman. The Lord, our Lord Vishnu, came as a woman, very attractive woman. She's described with like such a beautiful feature and beautiful breasts and a thin waist and beautiful thighs and a sari. And she came, and they were all mesmerized. The demons and demigods, they all came together. Finally, they all came together and were mesmerized by the form of Mohini Murti, with Lord Vishnu taking the form of a woman to bewilder the demons. And then she spoke very sweetly to the demons. Oh, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so strong. She spoke very sweetly. And the demons, they were feeling like really praised. And then they then surrendered. In a sense, they surrendered because they wanted to enjoy Krishna. It's not like they surrendered to Lord Vishnu. And sometimes we can see that also. There is a part of us that want to enjoy Krishna. I remember when I became a devotee, I was with Mother Jadwani, and we were at a printer. And I was like, I was kind of challenging. I was in a challenging mode, and I was looking at the counter at the printer. I said, "This is Krishna too?" And she said, "Yes." And I was in that challenging mode. But after I don't remember how the detail of the conversation, but she said, "You know what? You are really here to enjoy Krishna consciousness." And she could see, because my heart, there was so much impersonalism within me. And I was enjoying Krishna. I was enjoying Krishna consciousness. And I still do, but in a different way. But at the time, I was getting out, I was getting my juice. I was getting my juice, kirtan juice. I was getting association juice, philosophy juice. I was getting so much juice. So sometimes even our demoniac part of us want to enjoy Krishna. So the demons, they were trying to enjoy. They wanted to enjoy Mohini Murti. And then because they were fighting, they say, "Oh, listen, we are fighting right now. Can you mediate for us? Be the mediator for us?" And so Mohini, she said, "Yes, of course. I can decide, how to distribute the nectar." And they were so mesmerized that they gave us the nectar, and they were completely trusting of Mohini Murti. And then at that time, so the demons were on one side and the demigods were on another side. And so she said, "Okay, I can do that, but I want you to promise that whatever I decide, you will accept." And then the demons said, "Okay, whatever you decide, we will accept." And then as soon as Mohini Murti got the nectar of immortality in her hand, she went to the demigods. And then the demons, they were looking at that, but they felt, "Oh, we cannot fight with a woman. She's so attractive. And we already make a promise. We'll not say anything." So they didn't say anything, but inside they were feeling so angry and angst. What is she doing? And so she went to the side of the demigod, and she started to pour on each of them into their mouths the nectar of immortality. And one of the demons named Rahu, who is like an eternal enemy of the sun god and the moon god, one of the demons called Rahu, he felt like, I'm going to be clever, more clever than any of my demon's brother. And he went to sit between the sun god and the moon god, dressed like a demigod. He was dressed like a demigod, looking like a demigod. And Mohini Murti, of course, she's omnipotent and she knows everything, but she pretended she didn't know. So she saw a demigod and she began to pour. But just at that moment, because the sun god and the moon god, they knew their eternal enemy very well. They kind of said, no, don't give it to her. And to him. And at that time, Moinimoti, she cut the head of Rahu. And then that's the planet we know now as Rahu, because Lord Brahma saw that. And that pastime was specifically to show how the potency of that nectar, because the head, which was, because the Rahu didn't have time to swallow, so the nectar was stuck in the throat. So Moinimoti, she cut just beneath the nectar, and the body of the demons died, but the head continued to live. That's how powerful that nectar of immortality was, that even if only the head got it. So that pastime was to prove how powerful this the Lord is and the nectar of immortality is. And then Lord Brahma, he decided, okay, well, then you will be one of a planet. And then because Rahu is an eternal enemy of the moon and the sun, then Rahu regularly, he wants to eclipse their beauty. And so that's when we have an eclipse of the moon and or the sun. And that's why eclipses are not very auspicious, because they are created by demoniac activities. So then the demons got really defeated in that pastime, because they didn't get any of the nectar of immortality. And then that's where I want to stop in this pastime. So the turtles, Kurma, often we say that the devotees we are sometimes doing agyata sukriti, like unknowing service to the Lord. And Krishna is so expert, creating for us moment of unknown service, because that unknown service does go into our spiritual bank account. So it is said that Kurma, the tortoise, was like kind of asleep, and he had an itching back. And then the demons and the demigods, they were churning. And as they was churning, the churning road, the Mandara mountain, was kind of scratching the back of Kurma and bringing him pleasure. So without knowing, they were really all both sides were creating pleasure to the Lord, and the Lord was accepting that service. So there's so much in this pastime. There is so much for us to learn about our own process of purification, of getting free of the poison within our heart, of trusting the Lord that when we are stuck somewhere, we are not. When there is stumbling block in our devotional service, we can turn to the Lord, and that the Lord is going to come and help in so many forms, even taking the form of turtles or a fish. And also seeing that, like, we understand that the demoniac mortality is that everything happened by accident. If I have success, accident, and if there is stumbling block on my path to create sense gratification, is an accident, is something against me. And the devotee always turn to Krishna, regardless what it is. Regardless, the devotee knows that if I get something that sounds inauspicious in my life, I know it's all auspicious, because it's the Lord taking care of me. And if there is something auspicious in my life, if it's conducive for devotional service, let me take it. If it's not conducive, let me disregard it. So there's so much for us in this pastime. So following in the footsteps of Anandini, I will just sing the verse in the Dasa Avatar Stotra. I haven't prepared for you to see it, so I'm just going to sing it. Kshiti Vipullatare tistati tava priste Dharani dharana inachakariste Keshavrita kuma sharira Chal jagadisha ave Jai Jagadish Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare. So I'm going to read the verse again. Shiro dadava marandana vayuktapanam udmatnatamma mitalaptaya aditeva Krishtena kachapava puvidadara gotram nidrakshano libariva takashana kandu. The primeval then assumes the turtle's incarnation in order to serve as a resting place pivot for the Mandara mountain, which was acting as a churning road. The demigods were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandara mountain in order to extract. The mountain moved back and forth, scratching the back of the Lord turtles, who, while partially sleeping, experiencing an sensation. Hare Krishna. Any question, comments, challenges? Kim?
Sorry, I just had it on by accident. Thank you, Malini.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, I'm curious about immortality and what that means in this context. Because like my understanding is the demigods and demons are like, I guess, relatively immortal in a way, but at the same time not even Brahma is immortal. So like, yeah, what does it mean, this nectar?
Of immortality.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have that question too. It's not like I'm very clear about it. That the nectar of immortality, what does that mean? Like Rahu, his body died, but then his head continued to live as a planet in the universe. But we know that even the universe is not immortal. Like it's temporary. It's temporary. So the universe gets destroyed by Lord Shiva. So what does that mean? You know, I always take that pastime in an allegoric way, and also we want to understand. And as I was reading, there was different parts. Sometimes it was the nectar of immortality, and sometimes he will say that he was giving how it's called, like more time, increasing lifespan or something like that. There is the word's use, it's not that, but so I was asking myself that same question. And what does that mean, the nectar of immortality? Are they, because the demigods and the demons, they are spirit souls, they are jiva soul. And so Lord Brahma wasn't capable of giving, is not immortal either. So how can be the other demigod get immortal by drinking the nectar of immortality? Or does that mean that by drinking the nectar of immortality, then they really deeply understand their eternal constitutional position, and then they are guaranteed to live eternally with Krishna or in their spiritual form? You know, like when it comes to our process, that's how I see it. Mm-hmm. That we by churning that ocean inside of us, allow things to come to the surface, skimming out all the anartha, taking out all the poison of all the anartha, then we have an opportunity to drink that immortal nectar. Even so, you know, like it may not appear that we stay in this body, we still, you know, go to eternal life. So, you know, I have that question, and I'm not very clear of the response of the answer, but I have responses for myself that in that question, I was also churning some responses and what I mean for me, what I mean for the demigods. And dear Govinda, what will be your response to that question? I'm curious because that's also a question I had.
Well, I'm not sure reference to the specific pastime there in the canto, but we can see in this verse, in that second word, Amara, Amara refers to the demigods. And so the demigods are commonly called Amara, or immortal. Mara means death, and Amara means deathless.
Mm.
So Prabhupada often gives the description there that, because they kind of compare it to, let's say, the human lifespan in the earthly spheres, it's billions and trillions of times greater. So it relative to us, it's practically immortal, but ultimately, Abrahma Bhunaloka Punaravartino Arjuna Mamu Peju Tukantia Punarjanma Navijite. Ultimately, even Brahma and the upper planets and the demigods, they're also ultimately subject to old age and death. Ultimately, so Amara, it means deathless, immortal, but it's really a relative term because they're also subject to death. And so, it could be something like, because if we're talking about lower level demigods, okay, maybe they would live in our years a few 100,000 years. And so maybe with the nectar of immortality, they're guaranteed, health and protection from injury, and maybe to live a full day of Brahma, billions of years, which is thousands of times more than they would usually live. And so again, maybe it's like relative protection, but it's not necessarily meaning immortality like the spiritual bodies in Vaikuntha.
Yeah. So when he said nectar of eternity, it's not
For me? Oh,
eternity. So is that Pastor Patrick?
yes, this is Patrick.
Go ahead,
Is it
Patrick.
okay to share now? I can't see anything. Well, yeah, what I wanted to share was kind of looking at, putting it towards our, human, endeavors towards, immortality, and how, we may strive for immortality, but it's so relative that, like, someone like Bill Gates or George Washington or something, very powerful person, and they've achieved immortality in one sense because people will know about them long after they're gone, and their statues. George Washington, he's on the dollar bill, so he's, for hundreds of years at least so far, or even someone back, thousands of years ago, we still know about. They've achieved immortality in one sense, but then, like, what about 1 billion years from now or 2 billion years from now? Will they still be immortal? And then, with like the with aging, what do you call it? Life extension. So that now they, like, it's a sense looking for immortality, but they don't even try to say immortality anymore. They say life extension or indefinite lifespan, because they want to, like, they're thinking that the scientists are thinking that they can stop the effects of aging on the body, of old age. Maybe they could do that, but then still there's death, murder. Somebody could kill you. You could be in a car accident, or there's disease. So it's not immortality. It may be, immortality they think they can do from the effects of old age, perhaps, but still somebody could kill you, or you could get a disease. So that's what makes me think of immortality is very relative. And then, like, in our search for immortality, as humans, even in our small sphere, we want to make an impact on the world. We want to make an impact on the community that will resonate past whenever we're in our bodies. It's kind of a universal thing to want to leave a legacy behind that goes on after we're here. We do that with our children, maybe just locally in family, or our bloodline, family tree, or it could be, on a worldwide scale, like somebody like Bill Gates or something. But it's like our quest for immortality.
Thank you to like look at the relativity of that notion of immortality and what it means for us human. Immortality means just like maybe leaving a legacy that stay alive even after the death of the body. And then in that context, like giving giving maybe easing out the possibility of untimely death could be looked at as immortality for the demigods, or yeah, and Dear Govinda's response about Amara and the demigods being called Amara, like no death, because from the perspective of human beings, there is no death. And in this pastime, you know, the demigods are demigods, so they know their lifespan, but they are still seeking that nectar of immortality. There is no details. They are seeking the nectar of immortality and they get it, but there is no details about what it does beside to Rahu. That's the only part that we understand the nectar of immortality is in Rahu, that even though his head is cut off and his lower body dies, the head doesn't die. So that's the only part of the pastime where we understand something about that nectar of immortality. And Rahu is going to be destroyed at the end of the millennia, or at least at the end of the life of Brahma. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Thank you, dear Govinda. Anything else about Kurma? There we are speaking about Kurma.
Okay, this idea of the whole world, the foundation of everything is a turtle, and so that idea actually that concept appears in many cultures around the world. American Indian, China, the idea that the whole earth rests on a turtle.
Yeah.
And even if we look at like the word, like in Latin, I think earth is terra, the terrain, terra. And if we look at the word turtle or tortoise, it has the same root, terrapin, like the terra, the earth is pinned on a turtle, terrapin. And so we can safely conjecture that the roots of all of those stories, you know, most would call it mythology. Of course, this is history, not mythology, in what we get in the Bhagavatam. But the root comes from Korma. We can the Korma pastime described. So that the whole Korma idea of, you know, massive earth resting on a terrapin, on a turtle. It's actually there, and it's pervasive throughout the globe in so many cultural histories.
Yeah. I've seen drawing by the Maori in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And, that's also their belief of the turtle. Yeah, nice. They all originated from we can imagine they all originated from that pastime with Kurma. Because we are all descendants of demons and demigods. So in a sense, it descended to that pastime. Yes. Thank you. Anything else? Jai Lord Kurma ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.